Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Scottish Football Live. It is the instant match reaction to Scotland 2, the Netherlands 2, in the first warm-up friendly ahead of the Euros. A Memphis Depay sucker punch denied Scotland what would have been a great win. A brilliant performance. Kevin Nisbet and who got the first goal? I completely forgot. Who got the first goal? Jack Hendry got the first goal.
How can you forget that goal for
on target for Scotland? Yeah, we're here with the instant match reaction. We'll get the boys' thoughts in a minute. Get your thoughts in the comments. Everyone go and like and subscribe if you're new. Share the stream out on Twitter. Ryan McGinley, I'll start with you because I watched the game with Ryan, so I've heard some of his thoughts. But that was a great performance, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the best performances I've seen under Steve Clarke, I'll be perfectly honest. In front of quite good opposition. I thought we did quite well. I think we very probably should have won the game, but I mean, that referee was an absolute joke the whole game. I thought there was some great individual performances. I thought Christie had a good game. Thought Nisbet was good when he came on. Thought Armstrong was decent. If he wouldn't take so many risks at the edge of the goal, it just gives me flashbacks to that England goal. A load of good performances. Jack Hendry as well was great. A lot of positives to be taken out of the game for sure.
There was lots of great performances, Ryan, and the ones that maybe struggled first half. I thought McGregor, Armstrong, and Turnbull were all better in the second half. So plenty positives.
Yeah, look, first half, the performance was good enough. There was players over the park who were doing their bit, but we watched it together, of course, David, as you've already said, and it was certainly players like McGregor we looked to and went, he's not looking great, a little bit burnt out, I felt he looked, and I've seen a lot of chat about that on social media, but second half, a lot of them really came alive, and I thought that, the main thing for me about tonight's performance was, this was a game that I expected Scotland to go in and kind of sit back and maybe not create as many chances. But we played really well when we had the ball. I thought we actually looked lively. We looked as though we wanted to attack the game. And it's certainly encouraging when you consider we've got a couple of big teams in that group, England and Croatia, where we're going to be under the same sort of circumstance. We're not going to be the better team quality-wise. We're going to have to be a bit different. And today, it showed that maybe we could go out and attack the game rather than sit back and counter and hit long balls all the time. We can actually go forward and try and be a bit creative. So, yeah, I know there was some people in the first half that didn't look great, but overall, over the course of the 90, I was very happy with a lot of the performances.
Yeah. From the chat, everyone in the chat, I want one word to describe Memphis Depay, please, and the referee. They were both as bad as each other. And McGinley mentioned that the ref was woeful. I thought there was some really bad challenges in that game that went unpunished. But here's my thing. Well, I want to touch on the end first because that's the prominent feeling just now. I was surprisingly gutted about that. Considering this is a friendly match, I was absolutely gutted when that goal went in. But the one thing I'm glad for, McGinley, is it's the most Scottish thing in the world to have a hard luck story at some point. This summer, there was going to be some hard luck story, something that didn't go our way. I am so happy that it's happened now. Because see if that happened against England, you'd have been fucking gutted.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad it's happened now. Hopefully that's the jinx away and it doesn't happen when the tournament gets properly started. I think you've got to take into consideration that we had 7 players out as well that were potentially going to be playing in this game. So the fact that we could string a team together to put in such a good performance against some really top-class players like Depay and De Jong, De Ligt as well. Yeah, all positives really for me. I know it's a bit gutting at the end to concede that goal, but I mean, it was an absolute screamer of a free kick. I saw Memphis Depay coming up to take that. I'm like, that is his position. He scored so many goals like that for Lyon over the past couple of years. So, yeah, it's gutting, but at the same time, if we're going to be gutted about drawing against Holland, then it shows that we're going somewhere.
Yeah, I'm going to flip it back to the start of the game now. Obviously, the end was the prominent thing, but Scotland started like a house on fire around the first 3-4 minutes, pressing Netherlands high, winning the ball back, not letting them get out, and the opening goal came from that. A great bit of pressing. I loved that Jack Hendry had the bravery to follow Depay out of the defence, won the ball, and scored a brilliant goal.
Yeah, look, I was surprised, and I'm going to start facing this way now, so I'm not going to look into the camera just to clarify. But no, I was really surprised with how we started that game. I didn't expect us to press as high as we did, and I didn't expect the intensity to be so, the same word, I didn't expect it to be so high. I just expected us to take it kind of standard, a little bit casual, and let Holland have as much of the ball as possible. But no, we really rushed into them, and I think maybe they weren't expecting that, and that's exactly what I want to see from this Scotland side, because we've got the players, we've got the energy, and we've got the quality to do it. There's players in that team who specialise in pressing high. You know, you look at your McGinns and stuff. I know McGinn, of course, wasn't playing tonight, but we've got the players to play a pressing brand of football. And Steve Clarke, with changing it up, is certainly going to offer a surprise against teams like Holland, like England, like Croatia. So, yeah, from the start, I was buzzing. And, you know, there's one guy that you kept talking about tonight, David, but one guy that highlighted that in the first and second half was Ryan Christie. Unbelievable. It's like a completely different player when he plays for Scotland and then what he does for Celtic. You know, tonight, you don't see him shooting from 40 yards. You don't see him blasting it over the bar. What you see is a player who has been given a very clear instruction and he's following it. And the best part about him is the amount he runs. He chases after that ball and he presses. And so many players can follow suit on that. And so many players pick up that energy from around him. So, yeah, you know what? I liked it from the start, set off with that. We hit the ball long straight away. It was like vibes of that game at Ibrox back in 2019 when we hit it over at the corner. But Scotland will do it this time and it worked well. And I think it might have offered a bit of a shock to the system for Holland.
I thought Ryan Christie was man of the match. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. I've been big on defending him in a Scotland shirt recently. A lot of people said, well, he shouldn't play. He's been shite for Celtic. But he gives us so much, McGinley. It's like the level of energy and the quality when it matters that he has got. It's just unbelievable. Like towards the end there, he was back in like the right corner, down near our corner flag, winning the ball back and drawing a free kick. He offers so much to the squad, and it was just amazing again tonight.
I've got to say, I'm a big critic of Christie when he plays for Celtic, but I mean the amount of running he does for Scotland. To be fair, he does do the running for Celtic as well, but it's more obvious in a bad team when he's not performing well. But you can tell he's been properly coached under Clarke. He's been told to play in that hole and just run about and be tenacious. Along with Armstrong, I thought Armstrong was good as well in that sort of position. They were both being tenacious in the middle, trying to get the ball back off the midfielders. And the midfielders weren't enjoying it against Scotland tonight, which is good because you would think that Holland have a good sort of midfield against ours, especially.
Can I make a quick point? Can I jump in with a quick point? I know you're on your flow, McGinley, there, but something that I feel like we need to bring up before we kind of skim over it. I think there was a very big concern tonight about the middle three that Scotland were fielding. The fact there was no sort of, as you can say, holding midfielder there. We didn't have someone who looked particularly defensive. You were looking at having your Turnbull, your Armstrong and your McGregor were three players who like to move forward with the ball. I instantly thought, oh Christ, Holland are going to carve us open. But as you've been saying there, Ryan, they've done the job really well.
Did we not get away with that though? I thought we got away with that because the amount of times we lost the ball first half in our own defensive third and got away with it.
Yeah, there was definitely mistakes. There absolutely was. I think that there was definitely. It shows you that you need to have that player there. You definitely need. And if that's Ryan Jack that has to do that for Scotland, it's Ryan Jack. If it's say Scott McTominay, whoever it is that wants to sit as the deeper of those three, you definitely need it. But I think under the circumstances of which we were placed tonight, yes, there was a couple of risky moments. I feel like for the majority of the game we handled it well.
The problem with those three is not how they compete, because they can all compete physically. It is just the fact that they are all naturally inclined to play, more enticing ball, and in times you just don't do that. You just play the sideways pass or you go backwards. But I thought second half Calmier did that a lot better. There was nobody tonight that I thought had a bad game. I mean, McGregor really made up for it in the second half. But I mean, going through the team, McGinley, I want to talk about Jack Hendry because I thought he was another one who was brilliant tonight. There was one foul he gave away at the end that Ryan picked up on when we were watching it that was, strike of someone maybe not as experienced at the top level giving away a silly foul. But Clark's obviously given faith in him. We've seen it recently. He's played that role. I said that I thought he would do it again for the Euros. I don't think he's done anything tonight to discredit his chances of starting for Scotland this summer.
No, it's a position that we're not really blessed with a lot of great options, you could say, but Jack Hendry's done really well. I thought he was really good tonight. I thought Cooper was quite good as well tonight. There was a point where he made a last-ditch tackle when a Netherlands player was coming into the box to make up for somebody else's mistake, and he done really well to get the ball. But I thought Jack Hendry was really good. He scored a 25-yard screamer as well, so that looks good. But I thought he was really good. He's done nothing to sort of say that he doesn't deserve his place in the team, and I hope he keeps his place moving forward.
Yeah, and the thing about Hendry that impressed me for the goal, obviously the strike's fantastic, but it's that aggression to go and press and win it. And again, as Ryan's pointing out here in the comments, Hendry at the back allows McTominay to play midfield. But yeah, Liam Cooper was brilliant as well. I thought a couple of times, as McGinley mentioned, Ryan, he saved us. And again, that position is going to be, you'd imagine, between him and Grant Hanley, that middle spot.
Well, that's the good thing about these friendlies. It's allowing us the chance and the opportunity to see who's going to be best at doing this and what the options are. It's, as you pulled up the comment a moment ago about McTominay playing at centre half, it's good to see, Hendry getting the chances now in this friendlies to try and kind of solidify that decision. Because, these two games are going to show a lot, and tonight is going to be vital to that, because we've already alluded to those mistakes that were made in the game. There was a couple of mistakes here and there, but by having these friendlies, you get those mistakes, you make those mistakes, and you know what to work on in training, you know how to avoid them. What I was really impressed with was the guys at the back, is I felt like there was always, when a mistake or something happened that went wrong, there was someone there to kind of sweep up. There was somebody there to help out. I think Cooper done it on occasion, Hendry done it on occasion, Kieran Tierney certainly done it on occasion. There was always somebody there to kind of give a wee bit of reinforcement from a moment of doubt. So it'll be a weird one to see who plays now, because I think Steve Clarke, as Ryan said, it's not the greatest set of options you've got there in front of you for centre half. So of course not, I'm not going to come out and say we've got the best centre halves in the world. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, because there's players there who have been playing well, and obviously he knows he can trust McTominay in that position as well, so you can talk about centre mids playing there. But Hanley being back, that'll throw a kind of another headache in for Steve Clarke, yeah.
The thing about the centre halves is we can sit here and say that they're not great options, or on paper, I agree with that. But if you look at the recent performances for Scotland, Cooper, Hanley, Hendry, Gallagher, Tierney, McTominay have all been really good recently for Scotland. These are boys that, they've got their limitations, but they're playing at a big level to get into this team. And again, now, if we'd have said a year ago that you're going to have selection headaches in a positive sense at centre half and up front, we wouldn't have even considered that an option. Now we have these good problems.
Well, there's a lot of things that if you said this time a year ago.
Oh, let me go on, right? If you'd have told me, hold on, McGinley, you're going to like this. If you'd have told me a year ago, when I was watching Kevin Nisbet play up front for Dunfermline alongside Gabby McGill, that in a year's time he'd have scored a goal against the Netherlands a week before he was playing for Scotland at the Euros, I don't think anyone would have believed that, which is absolutely mental.
No.
But
I would have struggled to believe Scotland at the Euros, never mind anything else. Take away the Nisbet part.
Yeah, McGinley, what were you going to say before I rudely interrupted?
I was just going to say, I read something that was mental tonight, and then I looked back on it and was like, that must be true. That was actually Steve Clarke's first friendly as a Scotland manager. That's crazy.
David pointed that out to me just before the final whistle, when it was saying like, "Oh, this is the first friendly in quite a while," and it's weird to have that feeling back. And another point that I raised, we're now we're doing this thing. We're like, "Oh, if you tell me this, you tell me that." The last time Scotland played a friendly, I probably didn't watch it. I probably didn't watch any of the friendlies because I was so disinterested and I was so disengaged from the national team. So, I watched the qualifiers and stuff, but when it came to friendlies, it was a waste of my time, it feels like. But now Steve Clarke and the team, the quality we're getting in the park, the passion we're getting in the park, is making you want to tune into these games.
Yeah, let's just go through the game again. Go talk about the first Netherlands goal. I think that was, it was an example again of what we were talking about earlier about having not maybe a natural defensive midfielder, not maybe sensing that danger. Again, though, I'd be reluctant to criticise David Turnbull for this, and it's the reason why I was, not expecting him to be in the squad. Listen, he's obviously a wonderful talent, but David Turnbull's this position is not what he played tonight. He was playing, deep in his own half the whole time. He's got a big use of very little time he gets in the ball. I thought he had a good shift. The goal was frustrating, but again, we've got to remember Scott McTominay and John McGinn will be playing in midfield, and they didn't play tonight. And I thought we were really good. Moving into the second half, before we come to Kevin Nisbet, I want to give Andy Robertson a little bit of credit here because he doesn't get anywhere near enough when he plays for Scotland. That cross is unbelievable. It is inch perfect and on the money. And just by the way, I think Tierney was brilliant tonight as well. But if you'd flip this, everyone would be going mental about how good Tierney was and how shit Robertson was tonight. That mistake Tierney made that almost costed the goal, everyone would have slandered Andy Robertson for that. So I'm not here to slander Kieran Tierney.
David's Liverpool moment coming through now.
Because Kieran Tierney was phenomenal tonight, and I think he deserves
the views of the cop tonight.
You've got to balance it out.
Do you want to get Red Men TV on as well?
Everyone will constantly slag off Andy Robertson, and he was brilliant tonight and deserves all the bit of credit he can get.
He was brilliant. He was really good.
But Kevin Nisbet, Ryan Fitzsimons, I enjoyed that when you saw that.
I mean, yeah, you were plastered to the ceiling. Had to scrape you off as Cal Craig messaged the chat. Is like, do you need help skating David off the ceiling? I just about did. I've never seen such a celebration for a goal in this flat before. He does really, really well with a finish. The ball comes in, it's a fantastic ball, as you've already said, from Andy Robertson. But the way he take, the ball's coming in quite quickly, and to bring it down the way he does, get it past Tim Krul as comfortably. And, it's very easy for things like that to go wrong, especially when you're not playing at this level, and you've not scored your first Scotland goal. And so many different things that mentally come into it, but he takes it brilliantly. He puts it in the back of the net, and he's a real... I'm very happy he's in this Scotland team. He's a real bonus to have. He's something different. And, people, we have regularly on my channel, we have Celtic fans talking about Griffiths. This is why Kevin Nisbet has been taking over Lee Griffiths. He is twice the player, 3 times the player, 5 times the player that Lee Griffiths is at this moment in time. We had to take Kevin Nisbet. And he's shown his quality now at the highest level. And he's someone who, in this group stage, can be of great... I think not many people a while ago would have had him as someone who would play a lot of minutes in the actual competition, but now he's someone who can really go in and do damage. Because people are looking at Adams, we're looking at Dykes, even Christie, who plays up top, Ryan Fraser. I think Nisbet would have always been that kind of last resort to a lot of people if he even went to the competition. Now he's someone that I think could really be a big bonus at the competition for us.
What my favorite thing about the goal was not even with as much the cross I loved in the finish as well. It's the movement from Nisbet that he peels off that defender. He just takes that step, makes that extra wee yard for himself, so he's free at the back post. Brilliant strikers play McGinley. The best thing for me about having Kevin Nisbet is, if he's not there, we're bringing on Ollie McBurnie or Ollie Burke. And if anyone seriously believes that those two are better options, then they're fucking kidding themselves.
Yep. I can't really say anything different. I thought Kevin Nisbet was brilliant when he came on. His movement was great. He's been showing that for Hibs all season. If you watch clips of him, his movement for Hibs is really, really good. That's why he's got so many goals. And that's because he's got so many, or twice as many goals as Griffiths this season. I mean, everything on paper says that Kevin Nisbet should be in the team ahead of Griffiths, and he's shown again why he should be in the team. I mean, it's a great finish. He didn't look nervous at all when he was taking it. He just looked calm and composed in front of goal, and he looked like he belonged up front for them. I thought he showed more than Dykes did, I'll be perfectly honest, over the course of the game, in terms of his movement and that. I know they're different players, so you can't really compare the two, but they're still playing up front at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But, I was very impressed with him. I've been a big fan of him this season.
The best thing for me about him, just in general, is that absolutely nothing phases him. Every time he takes a step up and has another challenge, he just looks like he's absolutely meant to be there. And again, I don't think he's had a good first season, but there's been times this season where he's not been in great form. But again, he's only going to get better. The talent in that kid is unbelievable. He was brilliant.
He needs that big summer move to Parkhead. That's what he needs.
Listen, there would be some Celtic fans that would turn their nose up at that, and I wouldn't understand it, because see, even as like a third, fourth choice striker, by the way. Anyway, I don't think he would be. Sorry, mate. I don't think he would be third or fourth choice next season. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think he'd be second at least. There's nobody else going to be there. Moving on to the other subs. Listen, when Tierney and Robertson went off, we struggled a little bit, but I still thought we defended resolutely. There was a lot of. Sometimes it was a wee bit last ditch, but we got the job done in terms of defending most of the time. But again, it just shows how vital that the two, Tierney and Robertson as a partnership, Ryan, are fantastic because they complement each other so well, I think, personally.
Yeah, look, this is why I've been saying all along, we've had a lot of conversations on the podcast, the main series, and in the group chats about what is best for Scotland. Is it the 4 at the 5 at the back? And I've always been of the mindset of the 5 at the back is the best. It is the best option for Scotland. You've got to have Tierney and Robertson playing together, and you've got to have them in the roles that they played in tonight. Because the thing is, you see it Tierney so many times tonight. He doesn't get too attached, and of course this can also be a problem, but he's too smart a footballer to make it a problem. He doesn't get too attached to sticking at that left centre half role. If he needs to, if he wants to, he will move forward. He'll do stuff. He'll light up the game for us. He'll give us that spark. You've seen times where he was overlapping and underlapping Andy Robertson, and it worked. It wasn't just senseless and a bad habit because he's a left back. It actually works, and that is the beauty of having two world-class, no word of it, no exaggeration, world-class left-sided players. You've got two of the best in the business there. So having those two in the team, as you said, the word is perfect for it. They complement each other so nicely. And I think they've got such a great understanding of each other that at this point, you can't drop them and you can't change it up.
There was one point in particular, McGinley, that I thought, what I will say is a good point you made about Tierney bombing on from midfield. We saw Hendry do it a couple of times. That is 100% down to shape and good coaching. If Tierney steps, the rest move across, and it becomes a 4 behind him. And if Hendry goes, Tierney will move across. It's really good, the shape we've got there. But there was one point in particular, McGinley, I don't know if you noticed this. Tierney had bombed on, he'd underlapped Robertson. Now, the boy Dumfries had gone right tight to Robertson because immediately, you don't want Andy Robertson getting the ball. You see what he's done for Liverpool. That allows Tierney to have that space to bomb on. The balance we have with those two just now, I think, is perfect.
Yeah, I'm glad they found a way to incorporate the two of them, because I know there was a wee bit of criticism towards maybe not playing Tierney in his natural position because he's so good there at left back. I think he, in that position, as sort of like the left-sided centre half, he's got that element of surprise. If he moves forward, you saw that in one of the movements. There was all of a sudden there was tons of space that he could just run into because Robertson was covering him. Mm-hmm. So we weren't really risking too much with that as well. I was really impressed by Tierney. I mean, I'm always impressed by Tierney. I've been watching him for years. But
it's so hard to track Tierney when he does that. Because see, if you've got someone in a back three bombing onto the byline, if you're an opposition player, who picks him up? Who picks him up? Does a striker track him? Does a midfielder track him? It's such a problem for defenders and the other team.
He's not just fast, but he's powerful with the way he strides forward as well. He's got some force on him when he runs. He's very difficult to defend against. So he's a great option to have both attacking and defending.
And you'll see 3 or 4 go with him as well. It's great for occupying other defenders. On you go, Ryan.
Even when Greg Taylor came on the night, he had a moment, he looked interesting.
He beat a man. Oh my God.
I think that ultimately, it all comes, there's a lot of these players, and Greg Taylor's of course one of them. There's a lot of these players who've been questioned time and time again this year at club level, but there seems to be something there in the Scotland setup at the minute, and I think it comes down to all the guys here, not just Steve Clarke. Of course, we've got John Carver and the other Ian as well. I forgot his name. You've got Reid. Yeah, that's it. You've got Reid. You've got Carver. You've got Clarke. You've got these 3 guys. I think the coaching right now is pinpoint. I think they've got everything right down to the kind of just down to the sheer details everywhere. It's great. Everything just seems to be clicking, and of course, I don't want to sit here and get ahead of myself, ahead of the biggest tournament that I'll ever see my country play in to this point. But it's just
winning the whole thing.
It looks good. Oh, of course, it's coming home, as they say.
It's mad. Lewis Laird made a good point earlier, McGinley. The fact that we're sitting here disappointed with the draw against the Netherlands is absolutely testament to where we are.
Oh, there's David away. Oh. There's David away. But I'll take over for him here. It's as he's saying, disappointing a draw. I'm probably not so much disappointed as a lot of people. I'm still very happy with what I've seen, and at the end of the day, it's a friendly match setting us up to this tournament. But it just shows you where we've came as a federation, as a national team over the past few years.
Just over two years ago, we get beat 3-0 off of Kazakhstan in Alex McLeish's tenure. So if you look at that then, and then you look at where we are now, where we are gutted that we drew against Netherlands and a team full of players that are going to Barcelona and players that are playing in the Premier League. I mean, it's night and day. And I think the thing for me is we look so organised on the pitch. Everybody seems to know their role and know what they have to do in the team in order for the team to succeed. It just looks it looks so much better under Scotland, under Steve Clarke, and it shows how good an appointment he's been to sort of bring some sort of stability and proper coaching back to the side.
I feel like tonight is, how that famous Michael Jordan meme where it's like, and I took that personally. Like, I feel like Clarke has seen all the Clarke is boring comments ahead of tonight. He's seen all that kind of Clarke is boring stuff, and he's just sat there and he's done the proper Michael Jordan. He's reacted with and I took that personally. And he's gave us a performance tonight that we can't be so bored about, because I don't think I was bored really at any point of tonight's game.
No, I thought it was one of the most entertaining games under Clarke that I've watched. I mean, a couple of the games have been quite boring, you've got to say. Like the couple of those friendlies. In fact, they weren't even friendlies. They were Nations League games or qualifying games. A couple of months ago were awful to watch, but tonight it was brilliant. And I think that was due to the opposition as well, because Netherlands wanted to come and have a go as well. You obviously know they're going to take the lion's share of possession and they're going to be fancy with the ball, but it allowed us to sort of practice for the bigger teams, in which we could just soak up the pressure and then hit them on the counter. And I thought we matched up to the Netherlands quite well tonight, which is definitely a positive going forward.
Right,
I'm
David,
back,
I'll let you have your hosting duties back again.
No, it's a good point. I want to pick up the point you just made there, McGinley, because you're right. It's a great practice for the England game. But the most encouraging thing for me about tonight was it wasn't like we were solely based on the counter-attack. There were points that we identified that, right, we can press here. And then, we would move as a unit. Dykes, Armstrong, Christie, the wing-backs, all pressing high. And the best thing about that is, and again, it comes back to where the goal came from, everybody presses high, but it's not just like the attacking players do that. The centre-halves press high too. That's how Hendry wins the ball for the goal. And I mentioned earlier about shape and coaching. That is perfect. And again, I said it's Ryan at one point after the Hendry goal. There was a period of play in which Scotland had pressed and won the ball back. And I said, that will please Steve Clarke almost more than the goal will. Because if you can get those things right, especially against England, you will, set yourself up for having a good chance. But yeah, it was the perfect preparation for tonight, and it couldn't be more encouraging, I would say.
Yep, nail on the head stuff there, David Boyd. Nail on the head stuff. I'm encouraged. I'm happy. I'm ready to head into this Euros now and just save every moment. Look, the last thing I want to do is get too ahead of myself, because it's like we keep comparing tonight, and I'm trying to avoid all the comparisons to England that we can, because the first things first is getting by the Czech Republic. You don't want to get all of this talk about England going and comparing Holland to England and saying this, that, next thing about their team selection when we've not even played the first game against the Czech Republic. Then I'll start to talk about the comparisons with England, and then I'll start to maybe be a bit bold.
The thing about the Czech Republic game is we're going to play the same way against every team. We're going to have the setup will be exactly the same. There will just be in certain games where you have less of the ball. Every time Scotland won the ball back tonight, McGinley, they immediately tried to play the right way. They had a free kick inside Netherlands half. It was played short, and we try and play football. And that will be exactly the same whether it's Czech Republic, Croatia, or England. The difference will just be the possession, basically. We've got a style, we've got a play. It's not like we win the ball back and immediately we're going long to Dykes every single time. That's not what we do. That is an option. But the style of play is so entrenched in this squad now that the more they play, the more practice they have, the more comfortable we're going to be, and that will suit us well.
Yeah, it definitely will. It's handy that we play this one way regardless of who we play against, because the players will know what to do regardless of the opposition, and they don't need to change it too much. Obviously, we'll have less of the ball against some of the better teams, such as England and maybe Croatia to a lesser extent as well. But it's good that we play the same way, so the players don't get too confused as well. But yeah, I'm really optimistic, I'll be perfectly honest. I know we've got a game against Luxembourg, and we definitely will have more of the ball on Sunday. It'll be good to switch a couple of the players around and give them a couple, maybe Billy Gilmore a bit more of a game, and Scott McKenna on that as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But overall, I'm quite optimistic about our chances.
We didn't mention Billy Gilmore yet. He only had about 10 minutes. A couple of times though, I thought there was one point in particular, made a brilliant pass out to Ryan Fraser. He looks really good. And the one thing about Turnbull and Gilmore is, if they didn't play any more football for Scotland this summer, this has still been 100% worthwhile taking them along, because they've got a taste of action. They are going to get used to training, with the system, the shape, and just being in an international setup. That's why I've always been so pro giving the youngsters a chance with Scotland. And I didn't think either of them looked out of place tonight. I thought they both did well, and it'll be interesting to see when Patterson gets his chance. But Luxembourg, Ryan's obviously coming up next. A very different game. Again, we mentioned we're going to have lots of the ball, but again, that's where you can kind of work on your rotations in an attacking sense, stuff like that. There are still positives to take from that. Minutes for others. You'd imagine McTominay will get a run out. McGinn will get a run out. Some of the boys that missed tonight. So, still, we can all be excited for that game on Sunday as well now.
Put 4 or 5 by them. That's what I want to see. No, look, in all seriousness, it'll be well. Who knows? Maybe we could, right? Maybe we could. I'm excited for it, even though I probably won't get to watch it. I'll be in work, sadly. It's big city Dave and a big city job now. But it's going to be interesting to see us now going to that game and what we do, especially with the team selection. It's a chance now for Steve Clarke to try out some other guys, of course, with the 6 substitutes as well. Allows him to do quite a bit. I suspect we'll see maybe some of the guys returning to the squad now that missed out in tonight's game. We'll probably maybe see McGinn and such maybe return. We might see Nathan Patterson get a shout in that team as well. So it's going to be interesting against Luxembourg to see what he decides to do with the team.
Just incidentally, a wee funny side note. Some guy sent me a tweet tonight. I think he'd put a fiver on Scotland to win the Euros like a year ago. and the potential returns were just over £1,000. It was 1,000 to 1, and he's now getting offered a positive cash out of £17. So he's got to keep that running, though. He's got to keep it running.
Keep it running.
The bookies are scared. They're watching Clark's football.
I was thinking today. I was sitting the other day thinking about Greece done it. Can we do it?
Listen, all you need is a favourable draw at home in the round of 16, then a wee bit of luck in the quarter-final. Then you never know.
Semi-final penalties, and then just we're not going to lose on penalties. Let's be honest. But Portugal managed to go to the final with only winning one game. Fuck's sake!
Yeah,
in 90 minutes.
Wales 2016 should be our inspiration.
Yep. Well,
I'm expecting semi-finals.
Hey,
no, that's all I want. At least. If we don't get that, we failed.
That's the thing, right? Let's be real here for a minute, right? See, we did make a semi-final. Do you think you could deal with the heartbreak of losing?
Yeah, you wouldn't give a shit, would you? I
think that when you get that close,
if we made it to the semi-finals of the Euros, right? We all know the heartbreak would be inevitable. We would be craving the heartbreak at that point because it'd been so long without it. We wouldn't be used to it. They're like being up a mountain and getting a nosebleed. It's just all wrong.
It's all easy saying that now, but wait till
don't worry about that. We're winning it anyway. So
yeah, no, exactly. That's the one about semi-finals. Let's talk a little bit about the COVID thing because obviously it was a talking point. All the talk coming out of the SFA today is that it was just ultra precautionary today. All those players have tested negative numerous times this week. And again, assuming they all return another negative test for the weekend, we'll all be back in the squad for the weekend, which is exciting, McGinley, because, we played so well tonight without, at least four of our starting 11, O'Donnell, Marshall, McTominay, McGinn, all missing tonight, and that's how good we played. It's even more encouraging with them to come back.
Yeah, I think it'll be important for these guys to come in, if they're able to come in and get some minutes in their boots as well, or in their legs rather. I know that's so stupid. Why did I even say that?
Minutes in their boots.
Minutes in their boots. I don't know if boots have a mind of their own now.
I probably do. The way they advertise them, it fucking seems like it.
That's true. Harry Kane's looks like they definitely do. But it'll be important for those guys to get back in the squad, give us some more options going forward. I mean, you'd think that McTominay and McGinn are certs to be starting in the first game of the Euros. So you want to get some minutes in their legs. I said it right this time. And then going forward to just get some experience in. I mean, you don't even need experience. What am I even talking about? I am rambling.
How many monsters have you had this evening?
No enough.
Just the one.
Yeah, you need another one to get the brain going again.
You don't ever want to get the minutes in the boots.
maybe that's what you need to do. Aye. Nightmare.
I don't know where to go next, Ryan.
Yeah, this is it. The hosting duties are back, lads. Where are we going now?
That's the whole thing knackered.
It's time for the end of show quiz. I wish I had a quiz.
Fucking had me going there.
It'd be good if we did. Actually, I think I do have one. You know that?
Well, I'll fill some time really quickly. Just a quick shout out to everyone who's in here. 260 people on a Wednesday night. It's fantastic. Support has been magic on the lives recently and on the videos as well. Myself and Dev did a video down at Hampden that went out on Monday. You can check that out on the channel. Looking forward to the Euro Games, having a quick look at outside Hampden. It's all been decorated and stuff. There'll be another video coming out on Saturday that's kind of Hampden orientated. A wee kind of look back one. Matthew Duffson, check your DMs, Ryan.
I've got a quiz. I think so. Matthew
he gave you a quiz.
He gave me a Scotland quiz way back when we went to film a show on the 17th of May. And no, that's a different one. This is a different one he gave me, and I never used it. So it's up to you. You want to date at the end of tonight's live show?
I'm not backing down from my challenge.
Oh, McGinley, what about you, mate?
Well, shite bags if we don't, so get it going.
Yeah, absolutely, get it going.
Right, okay, so as usual, as the quiz master, you've got to dish out set A and set B. I am going to flip a coin. I've got a coin here, coincidentally, so I'm going to let it's an end of season SPFL quiz, but it'll do. It's basically, it'll be fine. So, Ryan, I'm going to give you heads or tails. What are you wanting?
Tails.
And it has flipped on. Tails it is. So set one or set two?
Set two.
Set 2, right? Okay, that's fine. It's an end of season SPFL quiz, so we can kind of get away with it, considering that the league has just ended about a week or two ago. So we'll squeeze it in just for a bit of entertainment. It keeps people interested and engaged, doesn't it? So let's go for it. Set 1, then. That means it's you first, David Buick. Are you ready?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Who was the last Scottish player to lift the FA Cup?
Kieran Tierney.
Oh, good. Quick answer there. Quick answer from Mr. Buick there. That's the answer. Kieran Tierney. Set 2. Right, here you go, David. Ryan. Who was recently named the PFA Scotland Young Player of the Year?
Young Player of the Year. PFA. That Turnbull?
Yes, David
Yes.
Turnbull's correct.
The thing about that is there was loads of these awards dishing about. You try to remember which one was what.
Yep,
the Writers' Awards and that as well.
I know they've got SWFA, got PFA, got fucking everything. Okay, right. This suits David. I'm glad he's picked question. Set 1. You've picked set 2 because this is a nice one for him. Dunfermline were knocked out of the playoff quarterfinals by Rafe Rovers, but what was the score over both legs? Dunfermline man has been putting. No escape for me, mate. No escape for me.
What was it? 2-0? 2-0?
2-0, correct. It was 2-0. It was 1-0 in both games, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was
was it 2-0? 2-0. Well, there you go. Shows you how much I fucking know. McGinley,
I commentate the 0-0 because I don't commentate on games of goals. We've been through that.
That's right, of course. Right, McGinley, your chance to go and take the lead. How many 1-0 wins has Steve Clarke had whilst managing Scotland?
Oh, what a question that is, by the way.
3.
Not far 2? Off. It's 2. 2 is the correct answer.
So
keeps it at the 1-all stage. David, it is for you. What is the age of the youngest player in the last Scotland squad? So this was the last Scotland squad, not the one that's just been announced, which makes it a bit more difficult. But you're just going to have to go with it, mate. The youngest player.
You want the age or the player?
What is the age of the youngest player? So I want the age, the number.
24.
Oh, he's not far off. It's 23. Kieran Tierney and Greg Taylor, both of them 23 years of age.
I thought they were both 24, as was Nisbet. That's what I thought it was.
A chance for McGinley to take the lead then. Which Scottish Championship club is located in Dumfries? Denzel Dumfries, who is playing tonight for the Netherlands. Who is located there?
McGinley, you can't be on Talk Scottish Football and not know this. I have to be honest, mate.
Queen of the South.
Queen of the South, correct.
We were going to have words there. Otherwise,
I felt the P45 in the distance.
Are they the only club from Dumfries? Like
yes,
Dumfries
they
and
are.
Galloway?
Yes.
I think so. Aye. Right. Okay. Back to you, David, to get an equaliser. When Nathan Patterson had his breakthrough at Rangers this season, but how many appearances did he rack up in the Scottish Premiership? Just the Scottish Premiership. How many appearances did he rack up? No, not as many. I thought it was 6. More than that as well. No, well, you can't keep guessing. It's actually 5. 5 is the correct answer. I thought it was more than 5, to be fair, but 5 appearances for Nathan Patterson. Right, McGinley, you get this right. You have won the quiz. It's all over before the end of it. So, which Scottish League One side remained at the top of the table for the most days?
Scottish who? Scottish League One.
Scottish League One side remained at the top of the table for the most days.
That's got to be Falkirk.
Correct, it is Falkirk. They were at the top.
Because they had such a collapse at the end.
Yep, and they had that mad layoff when they weren't playing games. They were top of the league.
Exactly. So you've won, Ryan, but we'll end off the quiz anyway. And I do have a tiebreaker if we want to.
How's he won? It was only one question wrong. Was it? Oh no, I got 2 wrong. Fuck.
You've got 2 wrong. Yeah.
I'm shite.
Yep, I'm lucky, son.
Anyway, right, by the way.
Anyway, David, here you go. And this season, St Mirren achieved their best top flight finish since what year? And I will give you it if you get it in the radius of 2.
Top flight finish, not like SPFL finish, just top flight finish. Oh, I'm stabbing in the dark. 1984. I don't know.
You're in the right decade, to be fair, but you're not 2 years away. It was 1989 was the correct answer for St Mirren. I would
It was
have.
back when Tony Fitzpatrick would have been playing for them back in
Fuck
those
knows
days.
when
McAvenny was probably there as well.
Yeah, that's right. Aye. So the final question to make it, this will make it 4-1 for you, Ryan. If you
Steve
get
Clark
this
could have
right.
been there as well, actually. Yeah.
So McGinley, who was the top goal scorer in the Scottish Premiership's bottom half group this season?
Oh, what a question that is, by the way. What a question.
That is a great question, by the way.
Let's take a minute here to think about this.
Davis just why what together with you now.
There's a couple right, so
Jamie McGrath.
You're going for
Kyle
Jamie
Lafferty?
McGrath. No, the correct answer
Ross
is
Callaghan?
Ross Callaghan with 9 goals for
Ross County?
Hamilton.
Ross County burned, yeah.
Right, okay.
Obviously, likes working for racist managers, which is interesting.
Tiebreaker question. Tiebreaker
What are we doing a
question.
tiebreaker for?
Well, I didn't fucking do it, McGinley. What you owing at? It was him that sent the text, not me.
This is so Ryan, you have got the win, but would you like to put your money where your mouth is and gamble your win for one final question?
There is no money here, but
Why would I do that?
Because that's what it's tradition that no matter what the result of the quiz, we just do the tiebreaker anyway.
I feel like this is the peer pressure. What happens in Bullseye? You know when the crowd starts shouting,
Gamble!
You've got your bully tank. It's you've got the money.
Yes,
It's behind the wall.
Gamble, do it.
He's doing the gamble.
This board turns to make your mantle. And bully special prize.
Right,
It's a caravan.
What do you want to do, Ryan? Do you want to gamble, mate?
I go for it.
Hey, right. So I'll give it to the nearest 100 is what you get the tick for. David, you get the first guess, I guess.
Just before we go, there's 2 people in the chat that are saying that it was Lafferty. So I don't know if that's correct.
Well, doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't make much of a difference. Yeah. It's fine.
Right.
So who gets the first? Who's getting the first guess here? Is it? It should be.
McGinley gets the first, surely.
It should be
McGinley. Sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. Right. So McGinley, how many tickets were Scotland allocated for their Euros clash against England at Wembley to the nearest 100?
At Wembley.
Yep, at Wembley.
8,200.
3,100.
So McGinley went for.
I'm closest.
8,200.
Oh, you're way off the mark. You're
Am
way
I not
off
right?
the mark.
Am I not right?
No, you're not. Apparently, to the nearest 100, it would be 2,700 tickets. So there you go. That's it.
I think it might be more than that now, by the way.
2,700 football playing ginger.
There was more
There might be
allocated
more
for
now.
Scotland fans at Wembley than there was at Hampden. It was quite
Yeah,
bizarre.
there might be of a change since this quiz was made, but originally it was 2,655 was the correct answer. Yes, 55. I had to throw that in there. 2,655.
It was Lafferty. Lafferty got 9 goals. I thought that was correct. He was up near the top of the whole thing.
Ross Callaghan got 9 as well, though.
In the league?
I don't know. Just according to this, I.
No, right.
Don't
well.
know. Matthew's right.
Because I was
That's
thinking no, it doesn't matter. It's cool.
Well done. Well done to David Buick, who wins the quiz today after Ryan loses.
Oh, I mean,
his
it's fully
gamble.
deserved. I just needed those initial questions to get some minutes in the boots, then I got going. Yeah, all very good. So that will...
That's a draw. That is a draw.
That's a draw. Fine. You know what? Fine. I think you deserve at least a draw. Right.
I'll take
We're going to be back tomorrow with the podcast, myself, Ryan and Dev. We'll get Dev a chance to get his thoughts on it. We're also going to do the draw for the TSF sweepstake. That will be done during tomorrow's podcast, but we'll also be live on Instagram. So you'll get a kind of insight into the sort of matrix as you look at a podcast being recorded live, even though it's not going out live. It's going to be very, very interesting.
You can also come by my Twitch after the stream and chat for a while if you want. I'll be live streaming some Football Manager.
I was going to finish what else we're doing in tomorrow's podcast, but you know, self-interest takes over here. We're also going to be picking our starting 11s for. It's Cole with 11. Oh, it might fucking be Devante Cole.
No, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter now, does it?
We're also going to give it
Here, at the end of the day, football's the winner. At the end of the day,
always the winner. We're going to have our preferred start 11s for the Czech Republic game. We'll get their results on last night. We'll look forward to Luxembourg. And again, I said there'll be a video out on Saturday, which will be good fun. But apart from that, McGinley, any final thoughts?
Not much. No, do not impress my favourite manager, obviously. No, I'm quite optimistic. Looking forward to the Luxembourg game, see what we can do against them. I know it'll be a difficult game because Norway struggled with them tonight as well. They only beat them 1-0. It took a 90 second.
I just want a quick thought. Fuck me, not a big spiel.
Sorry. Optimistic.
I'm sorry, mate. I'm just hanging out to dry there. Ryan's not even concentrating.
I wasn't actually.
I was bullying McGinley. It now looks like bullying because you weren't there to laugh. I now feel bad. I now feel bad. I just bullied him in front of everyone. If you'd have laughed, it would have been okay. Fuck's sake. If you want, Aldo's laughing. So there we go.
What was said? I actually missed that. I was sitting looking at Twitter for a minute.
I was giving my final thoughts. You know, I've got.
It was an extended fucking. It was like a soliloquy. Fuck's sake. So word I'm not used for a long time. Yeah.
That's not right.
If you want Ryan's final thoughts, go and watch him on Twitch. We don't need to.
That's nice.
We'll be here all fucking night.
I was just going to give one brief line.
Right, what is it? What is your brief sentence?
You got to hold and give, but do it.
I will see you next time. Cheers.